Being internationally aware is basically having an understanding of what's happening around the world in different countries and different cultures, understanding how it impacts
The
us.
definition of being internationally aware would be to know what's going on in the world, be sure of your whereabouts, keep to be updated on news, not just things that are going on in your area, but, internationally all throughout the world. Um, anything media related, anything that's going on in the news, to know or be educated about different cultures, different races, all over and globally, to be
My
just
definition
aware.
of being internationally aware is being aware of what's going on outside of the U.S. borders, such as other countries, nations.
My definition of being internationally aware would include having an understanding of how your life is influenced by things outside of our country and how your actions influence things outside.
My definition of being internationally aware is having a good knowledge of different types of cultures out there, and not just in the United States, different countries and stuff.
It's important to be internationally aware because we live in a global society, in a global economy, and we're all very much connected. So what happens on the other side of the world impacts us directly. So we need to understand what's happening all over the world so that we can kind of see how it's going to impact us and understand the
I
things that
believe
are
it's
happening.
important to be internationally aware because it could avoid a lot of conflict, such as stereotypes. I believe that's a problem going on today's generation. If you're internationally aware about one's culture, you can prevent having stereotypes being said. Knowing about one's culture can be beneficial for you. It can be beneficial for a class you're taking. And just being internationally aware, or for it to be important, I think it just is beneficial.
It's important to be internationally aware because you don't interact with only your nation. You interact with people of other nations: Jamaican, Haitian, Dominican, Puerto Rican, stuff
So
like
you can
that.
know what's going on in the world and you don't be left out. You got to be updated on what's
I
going
think
on.
it's important to be internationally aware so that you can make some sense about how things in your world are changing. If there's some news that's going on that might change the way our government's behaving, or the products that you might buy, or how much they might cost, or how available they might be, or the new styles for those who are interested in fashion or music, then you want to be aware for those things. And there's also different kinds of new ideas.
I would say because, say if you travel outside of the country, like the United States, you would like to know, you can't go into a country that's having a war right now, or a country that doesn't like the United States or something like that. You just have to know what's going on around the world.
Absolutely. It is very important to have a global understanding of what's happening, especially being in Philadelphia. We live in a major city, so it's really important to understand how things happening in other major cities around the world can impact us here in Philadelphia.
Because you may never know things that are going on outside of Philadelphia may relate to you. Also, there may be a time when you may have to answer a question, take a test, or someone may want to know about something, and if you have the answer, then you can give it to them, and that's one of the benefits of, being internationally aware from things that are going on outside of your area.
I feel as though it's still necessary to be internationally aware because I work with people who are of different nationalities, so I like to be in the loop of what's going on in their home country.
I feel as though because people travel a lot, so they got to know what's going on around the world.
I think it's even more important to be internationally aware when you live in a city, because we get affected, in a city we get affected even more by things that are outside of our own country. One activity that I like to do with my students to help them become internationally aware is to ask them to look at the clothing that they're wearing. And they might have bought their clothing in the city, such as our uniforms for school. But your uniforms were not made in this city. They weren't even made in this country. So other people have made them, and why are we buying their clothes, and why are they making clothes for us?
On my behalf, I think so, but everyone else, I don't think it really matters to them if they want to be internationally aware or not. I really don't think they care, but I think everyone should be aware though.
honestly, you just kind of have to want to be. I think it's really important to make sure that you're, reading the news, watching the news, understanding, stories from around the world and asking questions and kind of just wanting to know more.
I believe a person can become internationally aware from checking out news, watching television, reading the newspaper articles, finding out a lot of things, going to good sources, libraries help, doing your research.
Watching the news, talking to people, reading the newspaper, reading in general. That makes you internationally
My
aware.
mom, every time I walk in the house, she be watching the news, so I just be catching a little stuff going on. So that's how I get
I
aware.
think someone becomes internationally aware by asking questions of themselves, the people around them, and of their world. I think they can do some reading and some watching. The internet's got a lot of good news sources that they can watch, local news or international news. They can do some reading of different articles and find out. But I think if you're just watching the news as a 10th grader or a high school student, some of it's hard to understand. But you're getting mature enough now that as you keep watching it and paying attention to it, more and more will become, you'll be able to understand more and more every month.
How much do I know about Japan? I know that Japan is a very cultural place. They have like a strong history and background. I know that the modern culture they have now compared to what they had back in the Edo period was like a big transition, a big difference. But I know some of their morals and laws are still the same. The culture today, such as they have the anime and the fun colors and the dressing and the fashion, especially going on in Harajuku, it's very different from far back then in like the 1940s and 50s, where most men, they wore the Edo period suits and the women wore kimonos or yukatas. So
I know a lot. I mean, they just had a tsunami, whatever it was. Something going on with the radiation hitting them because of what happened over there.
Not much, because I only have like a couple of friends who are from the Dominican Republic, and they say that it's usually a nice tourist spot, but they also have like the gangs and the violence, just like
How much do I know about the Dominican Republic? I know a little bit about it. I'm not going to say that I know a lot about it. I know where it's located and a little bit about the way that people live there.
You too should become internationally aware and learn about the world you live in.
I am Ms. Dalton, the Tech 2 and Marketing teacher here at
my name
media.
is Alexis Zimmerman, Advisory 10-3.
My name is Julian Froeller. I am in 12th grade. My advisory is 12-1.
My name's Tariq and I'm in 12 too.
I'm Mr. Hunter. I teach world cultures, 10th grade history at New Media Technology Charter School.
Hi, my name is Manira Johnson. I'm in 10th grade and my advisor is 10-1.